Yeah. I saw this thing on Twitter, yeah, this Unite Students. It was a couple of weeks ago. I wanted to mention it for a while. Like, it was a video where this girl, she was going around her accommodation and you could see like people's poo, like coming from the ceiling. And it was like, they'll, obviously they poo in the toilet,
Yeah.
but because it's so poorly built, it's seeping through.
What?
So the people above her, their poo is coming into her flat.
And I wasn't spent a day.
Fam.
When I noticed that, not a day plus, day more than.
And that was Unite Students. Like Unite Students, they've been catching.
I was gonna get a flat with United Students. It's just that the time that I wanted to stay there, it wouldn't have made any sense. So I wanted to stay there from like January onwards, but they do it by like term. So yeah, it wouldn't have made any sense. It would just be me being out of pocket for no reason. Imagine.
Apparently there was a snake in their apartment.
Snake. Ejò.
It was on the loose. They had a snake on the loose, and now they can't find it.
Yeah, then.
And then
You pack
someone's
That's
pissing in all of their pots.
Oh my.
And they're reporting it, but nothing's being done.
Yeah, then.
They're done out here.
But the thing is, why are they still staying there?
But I don't know.
If you imagine you're from like Sheffield or something, you come to study in London, where are you gonna go?
Look at this.
So that's disgusting.
No.
Wow.
No.
Oh my gosh.
No, Abby.
It's actually disgusting.
I can't believe it. Like a pimple.
Mm-hmm. That is disgusting.
Like a
It's
pimple.
nasty.
And that's all the air bubbles.
All of that is just poo.
That is disgusting.
Nah, that is terrible.
And the thing is, they charge dumb amounts of money.
It's very
They charge so much money
It's
to-
so nice.
Yeah.
So nice because they have one in Stratford. They have one in Elephant and Castle as well.
Yeah.
So I was going to move there when I moved out from the house. Then, but nah, it's very expensive, but it seems like it's just so worth it because you can get like a studio.
Yeah.
But
I used to see
Imagine.
the adverts on my phone.
Um,
as well.
I'll be fuming. Oh my days.
ridiculous.
Poo.
And the thing is, people are paying like 120 a week minimum to stay in these places, and they increase the prices. When I was in Birmingham, they increased the prices like by £1 or £2 every year. So like when I first started, it was like 119. Then when I finished, it was like 127. They just increase the prices every year.
It makes a big difference at
It
the
really
end of
does.
it.
How do you jump from 119 to 127
That's
That was
ridiculous.
like
a week?
one accommodation in the Cancia. It just opened. It was like you probably might have seen it when you went to Canterbury. It's new. It's like next to the Asda. When that first opened, it was £80 a week for a single room. Single room, and it was like nice. Like imagine a fresh accommodation, and then for a double room, ensuite. So all the rooms are ensuite, and then for a double room it was £90 a week. And then because demand was just, and even if let's say for example, because it was new and it opened like in October, so people already had places to live, so they didn't really
Yeah.
have a lot of students living there. If let's say for example I was in Cants and you came to visit me, or you didn't have nowhere, you just went to Canterbury, you didn't have nowhere to stay, they would rent you a room
For like the night.
4 nights for £80.
Seriously, that's not bad, you know.
Decent. Like when I say it was so affordable, but when people realize that the new accommodation, and it wasn't restricted to one uni, because usually accommodations are restricted to uni, because if you go to Kent you can't exactly live in, let's say like there's a place called Parham Student Village. It will be kind of awkward for you to get to uni unless you drove. And you couldn't live on like Kent campus. Sorry, if you lived in if you went to Canterbury, because it would be awkward for you to get to unless you drove. But for that place, Asda was like just a perfect place. So any uni that you went to in Canterbury, you could live there when people found out about that accommodation, when we requested to live there, it was like 160 a week, something stupid. And I just thought,
Because the demand is there now.
do you know what? That's what made me want to commute, because that was like my last like option. Like if I wanted to live in Cants, I wanted to live in that accommodation. And when they told me that price, I just thought, do you know what? Forget it. Like, and they wanted to start making people pay for bills as well. That's the whole point of living in accommodation. You don't pay
Yeah,
bills.
it's all
That's
expensive,
all
yeah.
included. Wow.
That's even like my friend, yeah. There's a place called Compton House in Northampton, and he stayed there last year because he's in his 3rd year now. So when he's like was there, he moved in and they said there's no water. There's not going to be water for a week. So he was like, cool. So it was him and his brother, and he was like, okay, he'll just be going to his brother down the hall and be using his bathroom. So 1 week turned to 2, turned to 3, 1 month, 2 months.
No water.
No water. So then afterwards, like after a month, they had water again. Then, what's it called? It wasn't even after they had water, they started to have leakage. So their room started to flood, and the way his room was flooding was past his bed. So his bed was soaked.
So his bed was a boat, basically.
Basically, he was swimming.
Wow.
So all the water that he didn't have for the whole month
They
came.
gave
They gave it to
cruise
him.
ship.
Literally. And he was paying 125 a week, bills included. I thought the price was calm, but for the fact that you don't have water for 1
I
month,
paid
and then
$125 for my room in Cants, but it was huge. Like,
but it's just that it's not worth it, because all of these things that you're supposed to have, it was new as well. Compton is a new house. Like on Google and that, it looks nice or whatever, but
that's what
the
we're
place is not
saying
even
today.
nice.
And Asda, all these new houses,
Literally.
you have to
Yeah.
be careful.
Because you don't know what
They just
you're going to
rushed
do
it.
when
Actually,
you
Yeah,
get
they
there.
That's
do.
even like when they built the apartments next to our house. The way they built that place,
Literally.
Too quick.
in
I went
1
to
week,
uni,
like
I came back, yeah,
it was
and
finished.
And it's done.
it looks different.
1 week, literally.
The
I
thing
went
is, it's
away
'cause
for a
there's
week. I
demand.
came back, the house was finished.
It's because the demand for it. Like people need places to live.
They were doing
Yeah,
gas
but-
works for
but
remember,
the thing
because
is,
remember, it burnt down. It
Yeah.
used to be blocks before. Then there was a fire and it burnt down because some girl that we know used to live there. The whole place burnt down. So they knocked everything down. They relocated everyone. And they were doing gas works there for years. Like, the place was a construction site for so many years. I don't know where I went for 1 week. But I promise you, by the end of that week, there was just apartments. And I'm
Literally.
thinking,
And I was, even when I was
huh?
walking through the road, going down, to the end of the road, and I was thinking, wait, this is not, what's going on? And it's a thing where these people, they're building these, new apartments, new houses, but for people to live in, but they're not in livable conditions.
Yeah.
So what's the
Yeah.
point?
Because even the one we were talking about in Asda, like I found a story and it was like, they're costing so much money just to repair the house. So it's like you find one problem and that escalates into another problem.
Yeah.
It's like opening a can of worms. Like you're trying to fix one thing and then
then
it's
something
from
else happens.
Yeah.
It's like maybe as a result of fixing this thing, you find this.
to be honest, these apartments, right, there's nothing better than you get in a house, a good house, and just modernizing it.
Yeah.
Because all these apartments, they're just made to look nice. That's
Literally.
Yeah, that's
They
what
just
it is.
look nice, but
And all it is really just a roof over your head.
honestly,
Yeah.
and imagine, even my friend, I have a friend, she lives in these new builds in like Camberwell/Brixton. So, just past Camberwell, but just before Brixton, like right in the middle.
Yeah.
And they got like green balconies
yeah,
there,
yeah.
like near the hospital. So she told me that when it's windy, her house shakes.
Oh.
Like,
Huh?
like like in summer you get like these rainstorms, like, and it's heavy rain and it's just so windy. She said her house actually, like, the walls shake, and when people, let's say someone slams the door in their house,
Yeah.
one of her doors will open in her house as in her house is flimsy. So then someone,
When it's not played.
her house actually flimsy. Like, you know, in primary school when you make house out of cardboard,
Yeah.
that's her house. Her house is very flimsy.
Yeah, but that's like this place, you know. It's like, you know, this place, it's not cardboard, but it's like very hard wood. Like, and you can punch a hole through this.
That's like
You can
her
actually
house.
punch a hole through this.
Someone, when we went to her house, imagine we had we're supposed to have an apartment party, but the apartment flopped last minute. It was basically a scam. So then, because our house looks like an apartment, we just thought, oh yeah, we'll do it at P's house. We did it at P's house, and then the place was just so. I was thinking, how do people live in this house? If we moved into that house would be finished in 1 week, because only like I can only imagine like 2 or 3 people, 3 people maximum living in that house, and you have to have like schedules that don't clash, so all of you will not be in the house at the same time, because the house
You'll
is
break it
like
if it all in
paper.
there.
Like you can actually just break that house.
That's
When there's
ridiculous.
how can your house be shaking
And
when
I
That's
guarantee
scary.
she's paying a lot for it, essentially. But the thing is, people are paying a lot for these houses, but the materials that they use are cheap materials.
But you won't
cheap
know
material.
until you move there, though. That's
That's
the problem,
ridiculous.
because a lot of these houses, people are buying them or getting them before they're actually finished.
Some false advertising.
You know what I mean?
Because there's this company called Bellway. They do apartments in my area, and what you can do is if you're local to the area that they're building a house in, they will like not offer it to you, but you can inquire about the place beforehand, and then you can kind of get the house built to your specifications a bit, and then you get the house cheaper than when it's finally on the market. So if the house is say 200,000 when it's on the market, you could get it for like 150k, or like maybe even less, because you got it before, and it's like you get a little bit of a discount with that, but you don't know what the house is.
All your
You don't know what the house is
neighbours'
going to
poo
look
coming to
like.
your toilet.
You know what I mean?
It's coming through into your kitchen.
When you open the shower, it's
That's what's
Gary from next
watching
door.
you.
It's dangerous. it's risky. That's why, like, even for me, like, I would like all of these schemes that they've got going on, like help to buy schemes and things like that. They're good, but you can only get it on the new build houses. These new build houses are a risk. Like, there's no guarantee that you're going to get a decent house that's going to last you a long time.
It shouldn't even be like that as well.
It really shouldn't. And like the older houses, which you know that they're more sturdy because they've been there for 50 years, 50, 60 years. Like my house that I live in, it's been there since like the 1950s. And it's still the same house, still the same bricks. Like everything is pretty much the same. Like it's one of the first houses on that road. And it's still there. Like you know that house was built like well. But now the houses opposite, they're built with cheaper material. Like the houses built opposite me, the whole area didn't exist until 1992. It didn't exist. It was a field. It was like just a long, big field. Like it did not exist until like 1992. Then all of a sudden, that's where Lakeside is. So Lakeside is in that area. Lakeside didn't exist until 92. Like all of a sudden, all of them houses are just being built, and it's rapid. And they're still building more because people are now leaving London to come to Essex, or they're going to Kent because it's cheaper out there. So they'll just commute into London. But the more they move, the more expensive it becomes. And the more expensive it becomes, the more money people are going to be spending on houses that it's expensive to own it, but it's expensive to maintain it as well, because you just got things messing up all the time. And like even in the article I read, they said it's not a coincidence. Like this guy, he teamed up with a lady on his road. He's having the same issues he's having. Like things just breaking down all the time in his house. It's like two people on the same road. And then they're clearly not the only people.
But do you not think that it's not a coincidence, or maybe the houses are meant to, like, they're building it for it to break down, not to last? Because I feel like the more money that people like are putting into it, because you know it's going to be your money that you're using to like fix it. So, and they're not going to live there forever. So, like apartments, for example, I feel like they're doing it on purpose so that
you
know what I
spending
mean?
more money.
Yeah,
Might be. You know?
But who are you paying the money to?
It's true, because it's not like, for example, if you live in a council house, when anything breaks down in your house, you call the council.
Yeah.
But if you buy a house, just call a plumber, a private plumber to come and fix it. So the money might not necessarily go back to the people unless they have their own facilities, which
I mean, I
doubt.
don't think it's deliberate. I think it's just negligence. Like I think they're trying to keep up with the demand. Like the population is growing at such a rapid rate. They're trying to keep up with it, but to keep up with it, they've got to get cheap materials. So I think on their part, it's just negligence. Like they're not really paying attention to the things that they should be.
That's even like when I lived at the house with the girl.
God.
Like that place was so nice, but in the afternoon was the worst time to be there, because that's when people would be like, they would have dropped off their kids at school and they'll be hoovering. Please, why are you hoovering on the top floor? And I can hear it as if you're like, it was so loud that like I wouldn't be able to sleep.
That's ridiculous.
I wouldn't be able to sleep in the afternoons. And it would be so loud that if I was sleeping, it would wake me up, because I would think that someone was hoovering in our front room. Then I have to realise that we don't have carpet and we don't even have a hoover. So like, it was actually ridiculous. That's why in the afternoon sometimes I just never used to sleep in the afternoons when I was there, because it just wasn't worth it. People would be walking around in their house with slippers on, when they're wearing heels going for a night out, like you can hear it inside your house. And that's like one of the things I love about when I moved back, is that if you can hear other people in our house, they're being ridiculously loud, because we've got brick. Like you can never hear
what's going on next
anything. Like if we can hear someone, we used to have these noisy neighbors every night, 3 a.m.
It's like they're pounding yam.
Prayer. The prayer was serious. Like it used to wake us up in the house, because they were like stupid loud. But it wasn't only us that complained about it. Like they were very, very, very loud. But if
praying,
we don't know if it was prayer, pounding,
I don't
was
know.
happening.
Pounding.
Yeah.
Like
they would be like, them things that used to pound jam in
Are they
Nigeria.
celestial or something?
I don't know what they were, because on Sunday they were at home all the time. But just that wait from the 3 to like 5 a.m. prayer or whatever it was. I don't know what it was, but something was going on for the longest. But if we can hear you and you can hear us,
you're being mad.
You're being very, very, very loud, because you can never hear anything.
That's good.
I was going to say, the only time I can hear something is when Mummy's doing tap dancing.
Your mum tap dances?
She does this thing, 5 minutes walk in the morning.
It's not 5 minutes, 5 miles.
Oh, God.
In the house?
Yeah, in our living room.
Is it?
Yeah, on YouTube. So she watches it and she walks with them.
Swear down.
It sounds like tap dancing to me, so I always say...
Wait, she's just walking on the spot?
Yeah.
That is funny. Oh my days.
No, it's funny when you think about it, but it's not funny when you're sleeping. When you have a day off.
And you're trying to get a lay in.
You have a day off and you just think, oh yes, I can just sleep till whatever time, and then you just hear pa 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 hoo, 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 hoo. I'm thinking it's just got to a point where you just roll your eyes and just put the cover over your head. Like, this woman, she will never stop.
At all.
No, she actually needs her own show, because she's just such a character.
I think you guys in general just need a show. Like, whenever I'm at your house, like, it's actually the funniest thing. Like, there's always something
I don't think
to
any
laugh
show
about
can
with you
handle
guys.
We're actually
It's
too
much.
crazy.
You guys are too funny.
A lot of people
though.
have said that, we should do
A
that.
lot of people say it, but I think we're just too crazy, because
it's not.
Most families
That's
are
the
crazy.
crazier the better in this age. The crazier the better.
People be
I
shocked.
don't think, yeah.
People actually be
Nah,
shocked.
they will be shocked, because your sister, the one after you, Hannah, she's obviously she's not loud, but
when
she
opens her
surprises me.
mouth.
She surprises
I told
me.
Kenny today, Kenny was looking at her, she was like, I can't believe that Hannah is like because I told her that Hannah's the rudest in our house. Abby can be rude, but she's not always rude, and it's just like, that's just kind of the way that she speaks. She's just like blunt. But with Hannah, because she can be very nice and very
She's the
lovely.
gentle one.
She's fake.
But no, I don't think she's fake. I just think she has
joking.
two sides to her. Like she can be very very calm and just to herself, just cool. And then there's the other side. It scares me. I'm not
It's
even gonna
very
lie.
scary.
I'm not scared of any of my sisters, but when Hannah gets the other side, she's very scary. You were not there that morning when she started. Okay. Quick story time. Hannah has very like soft, natural hair, and her hair is very curly. So and she has a lot of shrinkage, meaning that when she washes her hair, it looks very short, but it's actually not that short. And it takes her very long to like comb it out and do like things to her hair when her hair's out. So she tends to always have her hair like braided or stuff. She don't really like having her hair out because it takes her longer to get ready in the mornings. So let's say, okay, like today, obviously she's on holiday now, but say she had school tomorrow. In the night, I don't know what happened to Hannah, but she was just like, I'm not going to school tomorrow. So she's told Sarah, and Sarah's a big snitch. Like, do not tell Sarah anything that you do not want people to know. Because Sarah is a snitch. Okay, so she told Sarah, Sarah, watch, I'm not going to school tomorrow. Sarah's ran out of the room straight away. Edna, Hannah said she's not going to school tomorrow, so just wait and see what drama she's going to do tomorrow. So, my mum's like in and out of the living room. So then my mum's like, what does she mean she's not going to school tomorrow? Yes, she is. And because Hannah's in year 11, it's like
She kind of,
period, like,
that's a very serious time.
My mom's not the kind of mum that if you're not feeling well, or you know, some days you're just actually not feeling it, like you're just not all there, she wouldn't force us to go to school. Like,
you'd go like later.
She understands she will go later, or if you're just not feeling well, my mum would never force her children to go to school if like she's not one of them kind of mums. But in GCSE period, even if blood is coming out of your eyes, your ears, you have to go and let them send you back. Yeah. Let them send you back, but you have to go. And if she knows that you've planned it, forget about it. Your plan is cancelled. You're going just because you planned it. So anyway, next morning now, I'm sleeping. I started work at like 4, so I'm thinking, I'm gonna sleep. Sleeping now. All I hear is, no, there's nothing you can do. You can't force me. I'm not going. I'm 16. I'm not going. And I'm thinking, I'm not getting involved. Like,
Mummy came into the room and she tapped me, Abigail, help me.
Oh, yeah, you was there.
Help me carry Hannah out of the house.
Help me carry Hannah out of the house.
Grab her legs.
So all the time I'm pretending to sleep because anytime there's a problem in our house, I don't know how I got this responsibility of being the peacemaker.
You're the oldest.
I don't care.
Yeah. I was like, why is Mum come telling me to carry her out? I was like, Edna, wake up and tell her, chat to your
Edna,
sister.
go, please. I'm thinking, I'm pretending to sleep. I'm thinking, you guys, and the thing is, I was having such a good dream. I was dreaming that I was on holiday. Those dreams don't come all the time. Dreaming that I was on holiday on the beach. Then these people just came with their loud noise. I'm thinking, do you know what? Just try and go back to the dream. Covered my head. I wasn't trying to listen.
Because Hannah was like, leave me alone.
My mom came stumping into the room now. Boom, 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 boom. Tapped Abby, please, we need to carry Hannah out of this house. She wasn't joking.
She packed her all her school clothes and she put it in her school bag.
She chucked it
downstairs outside.
So then now, Abby's like, no, Edna, sorry, this is your responsibility. You need to go. And I'm thinking, for God's sake, my eyes, you know when you're so tired, your eyes are burning. Gone now. I see Hannah. I looked at the time, 8:30. Hannah is in her robe. Her hair's in an afro. I said,
not even trying to go.
She's not trying to go at all. She literally just came out of the bath and was like, I'm not going to school today at all. And I was thinking, I was scared already because I've never seen Hannah like, she's very stubborn at times, but I've never seen her try anything like that. She actually thought she wasn't going to school that day. So
she thought.
I was like, Hannah, what's going on? She was like, I'm not going to school. My mum is struggling with her. Bolu, help me carry her leg. I'm thinking, I'm not carrying anybody's leg right now. Then Hannah's like, whatever you do, whatever you think you're gonna do, that's gonna force me to go. I'm just letting you know right now, you can't force me. I'm not going. I'm not going. Screaming. I'm thinking, oh my day.
Know it's bruh.